If it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, I don't know where I would be. Fellowship, let's go.
My testimony is real. I came this far by faith. My road ain't always been smooth, but it don't look like everything I've been through. The truth is I'm kept blessed by the best, and one word describes the rest. Everybody say grace. Grace. Everybody say grace. By faith my future is bright. He's brought me from a mighty long way. I walk by faith and not sight. Oh yeah, that's how I made it where I am today. The truth is I'm kept blessed by the best, and one word describes the rest. Everybody say grace. Grace. Everybody say grace.
I don't deserve it.
Undeserved.
I'm talking about me.
Unearned.
You know me better than I do.
Favor.
I make some mistakes,
Undeserved.
and I'm not right all the time.
Unearned.
But I know
Unearned.
He is a friend of mine.
Favor.
Thank you, Lord, for keeping me. Oh, I can't thank you enough.
Favor.
Yeah, grace. Oh, time and time again. Oh, grace. You never left my side. Oh, grace. Yeah, nobody can do me like you do. You do. Thank you for bringing me through. Oh, grace, grace is sufficient for me. Don't know about you. All I know, He'll bring you through. Hey, sometimes I feel like I can't make it, but I'm making it. It's because of Your grace.
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. I want you to know wherever you need God's grace, it's always sufficient, on time, and exactly what you need.
Amazing grace, how sweet.
How sweet,
Amazing
how sweet.
grace, how sweet.
Your grace is
Amazing grace, how
sweet, and it gets sweeter,
Amazing
sweeter.
grace, how sweet.
Whoa, sweeter,
How sweet.
sweet, sweeter. Lord, thank you for being sweet to me.
He promised me he will
Deliver, deliver. promised me he's my protector, protector, protector. And I believe he's a protector, protector, protector. Yes, I believe he's a protector, protector, protector.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Ask Elaine, 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 ask Elaine.
Okay. Caught me waking up from that nap. Good afternoon. Welcome once again to another edition of Ask Elaine. It's such an honor to have you there. Whether you've tuned in on AM, FM, or if you're right here looking at us on the Glory Live, we want to welcome Randy Crawford, who is just always on the scene. We thank you for being such a loyal listener and viewer of Ask Elaine. And we appreciate the tidbits of information that you share with us. And then there's Ricky. Good afternoon to you too. Maybe the rest of the gang is on the way. If y'all will press like and share, hit like and share. That will be a reminder to a number of people that the Middle Georgia Talk and Information program is on the air. This is the place where you get smarter, and this is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you once again to Ask Elaine. Um, Y'all, please share, comment. You're welcome to go into the chat and share with us questions, comments. We know today that you're excited about our special guest. I am so excited whenever we can get her on the program. Before I introduce our special guest, I want to express congratulations and a big thank you to Mr. Melvin Flowers. He's an employee of Macon-Bibb County Parks and Recreation. Uh, he presented today the 23rd annual Melvin Flowers Senior Citizens Christmas luncheon. He's been doing it for 23 years, and he has some wonderful sponsors that always come through for him. But I would think there were maybe over 100 seniors there. And what I did, I promised them that they would receive a special gift from the district attorney, three special gifts. And you know how senior citizens are, you get to the end of the program and you haven't done it, and they come up and remind you. Well, they reminded me. So those three gifts as special gifts from the district attorney will be at the Senior Citizens Center on tomorrow, and I'll let them determine how they're going to determine who the winners are. But we'll tell you next week who those winners are. But I thought that was just really, really great. It was a great time. Um, Different people received recognition for their years of support for Melvin Flowers and what he's tried to do for the community. And we just want to thank him. It was my special privilege to be the MC, believe it or not, the MC for this 23rd annual Christmas luncheon. It was a pleasure. Dr. Ficklin was there. We just had a number of people. The mayor was the guest speaker. We had Sheriff David Davis there as the speaker. As one of the to bring remarks, and then the Johnson family. Frank Johnson Center is named in honor of the late Frank Johnson, and so every year at this luncheon they pay tribute to that family that did so much to make sure that, first of all, that rec center was built there in the Unionville neighborhood, but also that it stayed there. And you can look for, I think it's a couple of $1 million more in improvements there. We recently voted on some additional things to happen there at the Frank Johnson Center as well as Memorial Gym. So keep track of what your money is going to is paying for to be placed in your neighborhoods, and make sure that you're receiving something. We want to welcome Dr. Butler. We want to welcome Harriet Taylor, Wade Horton. We missed you at commission meeting last night. Lisa Williams Riggins, Maria Bryant is there. We're glad you're up and about, Maria. And of course, we already welcomed Ricky and Randy. I'm going to go ahead and welcome our very special guest today, none other than District Attorney Anita Reynolds Howard, who and this is the place to get your information, so we're able to get these people who have these just tight schedules, but they love our audience. They love the folks who've been tuning in, because they she knows that you're just so smart you can see through and understand what's true and what's not true, and then you can take it and share that information with other people. So that's why we're just so happy to have her to take this time out of her busy schedule to come in and to be our special guest today. We're going to talk about some stuff that we know you want to know about, but put it in the chat. If we don't cover it, put it in the chat and we'll cover it. None other than DA Anita Reynolds Howard.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ask Elaine.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be back. This is a wonderful opportunity to talk with the people. And so, and I know that, what I need to say to the people, I can get that out. It's not going to be twisted. It's not going to be cut.
Not at
It's
all.
not going to be manipulated. Right. And so
Right.
truth is important. And so that's why, when I do get the opportunity to come on, I thank you so much again, Commissioner Lucas, for that opportunity to talk directly to the people.
Yeah, yeah. Before we get into a couple of specific things,
Yeah.
want you to just briefly summarize what the DA's office does.
So, at the district attorney's office, our priority is public safety. And we achieve that through prosecution, but we also achieve that through prevention. No one has ever made a community safer by prosecution alone, because by the time you prosecute these individuals, you're going to have that next, those next folks, that next generation coming up, and so you really also want to focus on prevention if you are prioritizing public safety. And we are prosecuting each and every week at that courthouse. I know
Mhm.
myself, I was in court all day on Monday, and then on most of the day on Tuesday, on yesterday. My folks have been in pretrial conferences all day today, preparing for trials that will take place in January.
Mhm.
And so making sure that we have everybody subpoenaed, checking the availability of witnesses. People always say, well, when will my case come up? That's a question that we often get. Well, the court calendars are set by the judges. They determine their calendar, not the DA's office. There's a lot of myths about
Oh,
what
people think
happens.
you do
They think I do it
yeah,
all, right?
yeah,
Exactly. I
yeah.
do a lot, but I don't do it all. And so I am not in control of the judges' calendars. I do not generate those calendars. Those are generated by their calendar clerk, and then the judges approve their calendars. And they let us know this is the group of cases that we're going to be dealing with for this particular trial term. And then those cases are scheduled for what they call a calendar call. We come to a calendar call, and the state will have an announcement to make. The defense will have an announcement to make, subject to the state being ready. Is the defense ready? Then after that, the court will decide based on what the court may determine to be the length of the trial. What can you realistically get done? Because a lot of times you're talking about a week or 2 weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
realistically, if you have, 100 cases on that calendar call, the judges know we're not going to be able to try 100 cases. The reality is, at most, even during a week, you're probably
Mm-hmm.
able to try 2 cases by the
Yeah.
time that you do your jury selection, for each one. And those are typically cases that don't involve a lot of witnesses. If you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about like a murder case, something of that nature, or armed robbery case where there's going to be not only law enforcement witnesses, but lay witnesses, community witnesses, you're typically talking about you're going to be able to try one case. And so a lot of it is court scheduling.
Right.
And I do agree that everybody's case is the number one case to them. And I
Right.
and I understand
Right.
that. I
Right.
understand that sentiment. But the truth is we just have a lot of cases, and the state.
And you had a lot of folks who were in the jail whose
Yes,
cases had not been, and previous district attorneys, especially the last one,
that's right.
left you with a backlog of a whole lot of stuff. And we're going to talk about that previous DA, because I don't like some of the low down dirty stuff that he's been trying to pull. He got his behind whipped 3 years ago in the election. I think you beat him by what, you had
It was over
70%,
70%.
over 70%. See, that's the way David Lucas whips folks, in the 70. And I better stop talking about that because somebody will jump up and run. We have to whip them.
Right.
But anyway, but he got his behind whipped, and he can't seem to get over it. He just is whimpering. He's been whimpering and crying and snorting and carrying on and trying to come up with something to hinder this DA from doing what is just, it's coming so naturally for her in serving people using a two-prong approach. And all he's doing is there just waiting, just trying to figure out some little something that he can put out there to make it seem like that her administration is not as good as it appears to us. Well, we know it's good. We know that you're handling some of his work
Oh yeah.
that should have been done while David Cook, I don't have a problem calling his name, David Cook was there, and he left all of that work there to be done. And this DA has come in and come up with a plan for handling some of it, get some of this backlog, but she's also stressing prevention.
That's
And
right.
that's something that former DAs have really not stressed, preventing children, anybody from going into the system where you have certain responsibilities that you can't blame her when your relatives get in trouble. It's a part of the system. We just have to work to try and keep folks out of that
Mhm.
system. But she is doing both of those things, and people just can't stand it. So when you hear about these different things that folks are throwing out there, the water board, Desmond Brown, and all of that stuff, y'all stop, listen. If you don't quite understand what's going on, listen to Ask Elaine or call in here and we'll straighten it out for you. We'll give you the details so that you won't go out there and spread false information, because people love to pick up on the wrong thing, and they want to run with that. Where's the truth? It's kind of hard for them to pick up on and run
Well,
with
and
it.
the
And I interrupted you. Go
well,
ahead.
no, and I was just saying the thing about it is everyone knows that, or everyone should know, and we know that most people know. And when they act like they don't know, we know those are games that are being played. If you believe that a crime has been committed, you report that to law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Yeah.
You don't call 13 WMAZ. You
Mm-hmm.
don't call, 41
Because
or
they can't do a thing
they
about it.
cannot.
Mm-mm.
You
Mm-mm.
report that to first law enforcement, and then if
Right.
you want to exercise whatever your First Amendment rights by talking to the media, whomever, then those are your rights. But the first person that you should call if you believe anyone in this community that a crime has been committed is law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people don't do that, we know that people are trying to play games, and we have too much of that, not just going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
Commissioner Lucas, in this community, but going on throughout our state, throughout our nation. When you look at the reserves, let's talk about that. When you look at the reserves that we have had in this state,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at the health care that has been needed, but then all of a sudden, and with but
People
we
want a little extra money.
right, and so we
Uh-huh.
we we toss out this
Yeah.
$1,000, but we've had these reserves, and we have known that people are hurting. We have known that people have needed additional support, and so the question then becomes, why now? Yes, you're not
Right.
going to turn it down,
Right.
but the question does become, why now, and
Right.
why not? Can you do more? Is this just enough to pacify?
Yeah.
So many times in our
Yeah.
community, Commissioner Lucas, people just give you enough
That's
crumbs
right.
to be pacified,
Have you to
right?
run it back,
But have you
and then you
made
forget what they
it
were doing. Uh-huh.
exactly? And so,
Uh-huh.
we have to watch some of the things that people do and really ask what their motives are.
Right.
If
Right.
you again, so and I say to anybody, and I know I don't know elected official that doesn't feel like this, that the community serves as the eyes and ears for law enforcement, and we can't do something about something until we know something has happened, and we need the community to work with us, to us all work together as that beloved community
Mm-hmm.
to hold people accountable. And let's stop playing games, and the people that we know that are playing these games, calling the media but not calling law enforcement.
Yeah.
Let's call it for what it
Right.
is.
Right. Right. We've been joined by Rhonda Stewart. Good afternoon to
Good
you.
afternoon.
And I think that's the only other one who's joined us, but we're just real happy to
I see
see
Wade saying
Wade
great
there.
job,
Yeah,
GA.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
Rhonda
Wade,
Bird.
Wade lifts weights, and Wade walks up into commission meeting, and all of them just sit back in the chair and look. And it's funny to me because Wade's gonna speak every time, speak his mind, and then they have to listen because
Right.
he gives information. Mr. Cotton has joined us. He's a
Hello.
retiree from Macon-Bibb County. We want to um, welcome him. Randy Crawford was asking if there's any word on the ruling of the maps. The judge has until December 20th. Um, that's today, isn't
Today,
it?
something I did see an article actually on my way here,
Hmm.
and I did not have time. I did not have opportunity to finish reading it. I started it, so I think I saw something. I get notifications, and I
Hmm.
think I saw something from the AJC, but I did
Okay.
not get an opportunity to
I
finish
haven't had
reading.
a
But
chance to
I'm
read it
confident
either.
that Senator Lucas, and those that I know he's been working with, I know. James Beverly and
Right.
others will
Right.
break all of that down and tell us what that means and what
Hmm.
what those decisions are. Hopefully, I'm sure in the
Right.
next few days.
Right.
But no, I thank you for inviting me here. Talking about prevention, I do want to talk
Yeah.
about. We can get to the
The
specific,
rise.
the
Yeah.
rise. We
Yeah.
have our second rise graduation, restoring inspiration by success in education tomorrow at Lundy Chapel at 10:30. And let me tell you, I'm excited. My folks are excited. They're working, getting everything finalized right now. We actually had 87 potential candidates for graduation. Those that we were able to finalize that met all the requirements were 68. So last year we had 26. This
Mhm.
year, tomorrow, we will have 68 graduates. And
Oh
so
my,
we are
my.
so
So, and
excited.
these are young people.
Yes,
Tell, give the
they are they are
specifics on
young
them.
people. They are the Rise Initiative serves individuals from 3 to 18, but most of them are in middle school, that middle school or high school age. And we earlier this year, we were able to do the Middle Georgia Focus, and one of the Rise graduates from last year, she said something that was so just impressionable and so compassionate. She said, Rise saw in me what I didn't see
Mhm.
in myself.
Mhm.
And, to tomorrow, it's going to be wonderful. I know you're going to be there.
I will.
Congressman Sanford Bishop is our
Oh,
commencement
great,
speaker.
great.
I know the mayor will be there, is
Uh huh.
excited. The
Uh huh.
Sheriff Davis will be there. He's excited. We have been, I've been going in the community and people are saying, I didn't get my invitation. I didn't get my invitation. And so I'm making sure everybody gets the
Yeah.
information for
Yeah.
tomorrow. But we're so excited for those families. And I say families because some of the families have more than one child
Mhm.
graduating.
Mhm.
And that's what's so another thing that's so wonderful about the Rise Initiative is just not about treating or offering support to that one child. It's, maybe that one child came to our attention via the school or via community referral or even maybe via the court system.
Mhm.
But it's if that child has suffered adverse childhood experiences or trauma, then we know that the other children in that home have probably suffer with those
Right.
adverse childhood
That's right.
experiences. And we want to not wait until those children get in trouble or, come to the attention of the school. We want to go ahead and give them that support. So we're excited. The graduation will start at 10:30, and then we will go over to Walmart for
Mhm.
the all of the graduates and their families are recipients of the Merry Christmas Project with
Yeah. The Kaplan
the Kaplan
family.
family.
Mhm.
Mike, Mike's daughter Mary passed, but she loved bulldogs and she loved Christmas,
Mhm.
and so they have really taken um, you know those memories and extended support for those that are most in need in this community. And so the Rise graduates and their families are recipients. So we will be over there. I know we have our Rise ambassadors who are volunteering at the Walmart because we're going to need lots of volunteers.
Yeah.
I know the Macon chapter of the Links, they are volunteering with us tomorrow. So we're really excited. I think Coroner Leon Jones told me he was going to come and volunteer tomorrow as well. So
He'll be there.
he will
He'll
be
be
there.
there. He
Yes,
gave out bikes Saturday, I
he
believe, about
did.
2 o'clock. I remember seeing that. I couldn't make it there to help out, but
Our
he's
office helped
always,
supported that.
yeah,
Well, there's a
yeah.
lot of things we do a lot in our office, but then we also support the initiatives of others
Hmm.
because we know,
Well, you're
you know,
everywhere. We were in the Christmas parade
yes,
Sunday
yes, yes.
downtown. It was kind of chilly, but it was
It
it was
was.
fun seeing so many people. But the folks from the DA's office, it looked like it was half of your staff that was down there.
And they
And
volunteered and
yeah,
I
they
was not
love it.
feeling well at all. I think I've had, this stuff that everybody's had.
Mm-hmm.
Today is a really good, it's the best I felt in probably over a week. But, I wasn't feeling well and I had decided I was going to stay in the car. Yeah. And, but when I got down there and I saw my staff, it just warmed my heart. And they were
Yeah.
so excited, looking like little DA L's.
Yeah,
They were looking like little
yeah,
L's with
yeah.
their little candy bags. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna get out. And so I got out and it really just, brightened up my day and my kind of spirit since I had been under the weather a little bit.
Well, and that's what people can't stand. These folks who are just whose egos are hurt because they lost, and you can't carry that forever. They just want to try and pick at you, just pick at you, just anything. Now, what happened? What had happened
What
was,
had happened
what had
was,
happened was, Senator Lucas and Representative Beverly did two town hall meetings on redistricting,
Mhm.
and at the second one, Mr. Desmond Brown, who was elected to District 2 on the water board, um, made a statement. And all he was trying to say was that some folks had come at him and he was just real happy that they hadn't been able to get him. That's basically what I heard him say at that meeting. Well, apparently there were some folks. D.A. Howard was there. I was there, and some other lot. It was a well attended meeting to find out about the redrawing of
right.
the lines. Somebody who was in that meeting apparently notified David Cook, or he somehow got the information that Desmond Brown had made some statement that the DA had been involved in letting him off, keeping him from being charged. That's the way it ended up. It was ridiculous. The media called me to ask me about it. And I told him, I said, that's just the former DA trying to get back, come up with something negative on the present DA. That's all that is. And I wouldn't talk to him anymore about it because there wasn't anything to talk about. But tell him what
Because
your reaction was.
no decision has been made about of any of those allegations or potential allegations by my office, by myself. And the reason why is because nothing had been turned over or reported to us.
Uh-huh.
Everyone knows that, again, if you believe someone has committed a crime, that goes to law enforcement. Specifically here in Bibb County, I serve Bibb, Crawford, and Peach. And so Crawford and Peach County work a little bit differently. But specifically here in Bibb County, law enforcement will investigate those crimes or those allegations. If they believe a crime is committed, if it's a misdemeanor, that will be then referred to Solicitor Rebecca Grice. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
felony, it will then be referred to my office.
Mm-hmm. Was
Nothing,
anything referred
not,
to you?
no, nothing had been referred to my office at all. And everyone knows that that is the process. Nothing had been referred to my office, and nothing had been referred, my understanding, nothing had been referred to law enforcement. So finally, after all of this, I said, I tell you what, we and there's a letter, and I did release that letter to the media. I said, whatever you all have at the Macon Water Authority, okay, send it.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why it wasn't turned over. If anybody thought it was anything, but I tell you what, send it. And
Uh-huh.
this is not typical. Is very unique for me as a district attorney to basically say, hey, send something, because if
Uh-huh.
someone's been wronged or someone believe a crime has been committed, again, they report that. But
Yeah.
let me do what I can to, kind of, one of our judges said, it's time to say grace over this, to make a decision one way or the other. And
Uh-huh.
so I said, send what you have. And I will make sure that that gets to the right individual, which
Uh-huh.
is Sheriff David Davis. And
Uh-huh.
so some information was sent last week. That information went to Sheriff David Davis. We said send it to me. Also sent it to Sheriff David Davis. At first, it was just sent to me, and I said, my folks responded to make sure you send it to Sheriff David Davis.
Uh-huh.
Sheriff Davis responded as he always does, you know, and said, I'm in receipt of this, and I believe he said he was going to turn it over to his fraud investigative unit. And so right now, the sheriff's office is doing what they do each and every day
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
in
But you gotta
cases.
get the information in.
Exactly.
And if you felt that there was something so wrong, why would you wait until that's been what, a year?
Right. Right.
Why would you wait if you felt like there was some wrongdoing, why would you, Mr. Former DA, wait a year and then you hear somebody say something at a meeting or somebody tells you something that a person said at a meeting, and then all of a sudden you're going to expose that there's some crime that's been committed or somebody's given it. It's all about trying to undermine the work that DA Howard and her staff are doing, and we don't need to let them get away with that.
And let me say
We
this,
got to call them on this wrongdoing.
and I want to say this, and I've always said this about we have any potential crime. We have some unsolved homicides, unsolved robberies that have occurred in this community, and those folks want justice,
Mhm.
and they deserve justice. We need the community. If you have seen something or heard something, we've all heard this before.
Mhm.
If you see something, say something.
Right.
Report it to law enforcement. Don't wait for law enforcement to, reach out to you, because they may not even know that you are out there. We all have a duty. And, I read some article about, oh, well, I was getting paid to do this or pay. You know, we have to have a responsibility to our community. As you know, I have and you have, Commissioner Lucas, that goes beyond payment. We have a responsibility
Right.
to ensure that our communities are safe, that those who are doing wrong are held accountable. And so, not just this case, I'm asking you as your district attorney, not just this particular matter because somebody called the media, but I'm saying when we have those homicides where someone's loved one, someone's
Right.
son, someone's daughter has been murdered. In all cases, if you know something, say something.
Right.
It is your responsibility.
It is.
Whether this entity hired you or another entity hired you or nobody hired you, you are a part of this community, and it is your responsibility to make the community better.
That's right.
And
You're
so
right.
I'm not just pleading with people on this case. This is on all of our cases. We
Right.
cannot do, law enforcement cannot do their job without the community's help. I cannot do my job without the community's help. Um, we don't even know what to ask if people don't report the
Yeah.
information. So
Yeah.
not just I know this case has gotten a lot of attention, and this is an important case, but I'm saying there are other important cases too, cases where lives have been lost, lives have been threatened, children children have been hurt, that
Mhm.
those cases,
Mhm.
they need solving as well. And
And
reach out
people
to law
know
enforcement.
something.
People
If they
know
know,
something.
they need to tell it.
And
Uh-huh.
don't assume, because we know what assuming does.
Mhm.
Don't assume that law enforcement knows. Don't assume that just because maybe the DA's office hasn't said anything that we know, and we're just not going to do anything. That is not. If things are reported to our office, we act on what is reported to our office. Law enforcement acts on those things. Now, sometimes there may not be enough evidence, but law enforcement is going to follow up. You saw what happened with the 4 escapees. People
Yeah.
thought because the sheriff wasn't saying
Yeah.
anything that nothing was being done.
Right.
But
Right.
he told us,
Yeah.
I am going to catch them. And
Right.
what happened?
They are all back behind
There you go.
bars. Yeah.
There you go.
They were monitoring phones,
Yes. And he talked
food
about a lot of
delivery,
that.
all of that
But a
stuff.
lot of times we can't talk about what we're doing or what we have, because sometimes we do have something but we don't have quite enough.
Mhm.
And if divulge that information, then you jeopardize getting more information
Right.
or solving. So just, report it. What I encourage everybody
That's
to
right.
do is report. We need your help. Your DA needs your help in ensuring the safety of our community. And it's
All right.
everybody's job, whether you're getting a check or not.
That's right. That's right. Randy Crawford says that on Saturday, December 23rd, from 11 until 2 p.m. New Fellowship Baptist Church. That's Reverend Bumpus. Um,
Yes.
and there's a an organization or an initiative called the IamTheDifference.org will be feeding the homeless and veterans. And so that's Saturday, December 23rd from 11 until 2 p.m., New Fellowship Baptist Church. So they'll be feeding the homeless and veterans. So y'all help to identify people that need to take advantage of these because our poverty rate in Macon Bibb is I've heard 27%. I've heard
Yes.
upwards of 40%. And so it depends on what group you're looking at, city, county, or whatever. But there's a lot of poverty, and there is no sense in these United States
That's right.
and anybody not having medical care and in anybody not having food to eat. We throw away a whole lot of stuff. And so it makes no sense to me. We want to welcome Dr. Lashania Rouse Brown to Ask Elaine and all the rest of our listeners and those who've joined us on the Glory Live. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. You've tuned in to Ask Elaine. Oh, and we want to welcome Steve Bryant, who lives in Virginia. And
Okay.
he tunes in to a lot of the programs that are on historic WDDO. He's from the Pleasant Hill area, grew up there, and so we want to welcome him, thank him for tuning in. But all of you are, we just appreciate you so much. This is Ask Elaine. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas. And we're still looking for some folks on the east side, some folks in District 3 who have a commitment to the community. We want you to consider running for office. You can't just be somebody who just wants to run. You got to have shown
That's right.
that you have the commitment, that you're an honest person, that you're really going to do the job, that you'll learn the responsibilities of the job, and that you will connect with the people that you're supposed to represent. Because it just doesn't make sense for us to waste our votes on anybody. We just don't
Right.
need
You
to
want
do
somebody that's
that.
going to be out there working, and I mean, you and I know what it's like. But you got to make sure that you're out there working and that you're dedicated, and you got to have thick skin. You know, a
That's
lot of
true.
time because you cannot get
Like these folks keep poking at you.
right.
You have to. You
You
have
can't
to.
get distracted every time somebody pokes at you, right? Because then you're not getting the work done. Then they really will have something
That's
to
right.
talk about. So
That's
a
right.
lot of times people say, "Well, how in the world don't you say this?" And the number one folks I get it from is my wonderful staff because they
Hmm.
know the work that we're
Oh
doing.
yeah.
They know all of the things that are going on in the office, and they'll say, "Well, DA, I saw this. I can't believe you didn't tell them." Da, 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 da. And you're just so much, nicer. And I said, I can't get distracted
Right.
because if I get distracted, then they really gonna have something to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm juggling a lot of different
You are.
things.
You are. And sometimes, if you're in the office, you got to kind of
Yes,
maintain your demeanor, you know.
that's
But
right.
there are some of
And
us
I'm doing
that
better at it now
you
because
are doing,
my
yeah.
first year, I wasn't
Well,
quite used to all of the,
right,
and
right.
a few times
Oh
they
yeah.
kind of, I was
In
like,
my
yeah, I
first
probably
few
could have said
years,
that a little
yeah.
better. Or I probably could have done
Uh-huh.
that without that look on my
Hmm.
face.
Uh-huh.
But I've learned to control those
I haven't
facial
learned how to do the
expressions.
face yet. It's been a long time. I can't quite you probably will know how I'm feeling, like if you come up and you say you're not a member of the NAACP, I'm gonna look kind of funny. Or
Right.
if you tell me you're not registered to vote, I'm gonna look at you, but then I'm gonna get the voter registration
That's
form
right.
for you. So there's some things it's just kind of hard to fathom in this day and time,
That's
people
right.
not protecting their rights and looking out for the folks who put their neck out on the line on your behalf, and then you sit back and you don't ever say anything, you don't ever do anything when these folks come under attack. And
That's
there
right.
is an organized effort in this community, in the state of Georgia, in the United States, to go after, especially Black folks and
Mm,
then Black women.
yes,
And we appreciate Black men who support the efforts.
absolutely.
And us together, they really get scared of that. They really do. But there is an organized effort to attack Black folks who are leaders. And so you can just expect that, but don't join with them
Mm-hmm.
in attacking folks. Find out the whole story and then see what your position is. Dr. Butler uh, says, please help me with the face.
Hit me with the
Also,
face.
I have a rough time with that. You know, if you watch my face, you're gonna be able to tell.
I saw one news interview one time that I did, and my
Oh,
face said it
listen.
all. And I said,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I guess I just really wasn't expecting that question. And my sweet husband Todd said, you always gotta expect a question that's gonna take you off your guard. And I was like, so, but
It's
I've, like I
hard.
said, I've done better with it, and with practice and things like that, and I've been doing a lot more media. I was recently with my dear friend Fonnie Willis, and
Mm-hmm.
she has a documentary team following her.
Uh-huh.
And we were in New York. She had received an award, and she had her documentary team to interview me for about an hour. And they were like, "Well, you're just really good at this." And I said, "Oh, trust me, I did not used to be. I had
Oh.
to, it's different. I knew going into this job how to be a prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that for 15 years. But and I knew that this community was excited for change. They voted for change. They were excited for change. As you said, when you win with over 70% of the vote, I mean, that's a welcoming spirit, a
Right.
welcoming feeling. But everybody was not excited about that. And everybody is
That's
still
true.
not excited
That's
about
true.
that. And my thing was, I was like, people are like, I I've not been a prosecutor. I've been doing this for 15
Mm-hmm.
years. I know what I'm doing, but that's one thing that myself and people like Fonnie and some of the other electeds, we, especially like you said, Black women, we talk about. And I think Fonnie even said this in her speech, that we are underestimated. We are
Mm-hmm.
second guessed. We
Mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
questioned. We are underestimated. But we have to take that under that spirit of underestimation, and we still lead with excellence. And we also have to take that and weaponize it
That's
to
right.
say,
That's
look,
right.
this is who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're doing. And as you said, when people don't have anything, they'll just make stuff up.
They'll make it up.
And
They
I
sure
think that's
will.
what we've seen. That's what we've seen. It's just, it really is. And I can't, and I can't, nor should I stop and respond
Oh,
every
you
time
no,
people are
you'll be
making.
talking all day long if you
Exactly.
stop and respond, but you've got to be smart enough to know when to respond because some stuff you
Right.
really have to push back on.
And what are those safe places, such as the Ask Elaine show, where
Oh
you can
yeah.
come and speak your entire truth, and know that it's not going to be twisted or turned or made into something, that is not.
Gonna come out, the real deal is gonna come out on Ask Elaine. Rhonda Bird says we are all a work in progress. She's proud to know and to have both of us representing uh, folks in greatness. So that's
Thank
isn't that
you.
great?
Thank you
That
so
just
much.
it makes us feel really, really good when there are people like the folks who come on here each week with us and share with us. It is just really, really nice to hear from those folks and to know that those people are getting real stuff, the true information. If I find it out, I'm going to tell it. And
That's right.
I'm going to tell you exactly what I heard in the meeting or from the documents or whatever it is. And so, if they don't plan for me to tell it, they don't need for me to be
That's right.
in the room, but they can't keep you out of the room.
And I'm
So
excited about you being there tomorrow, because I know you're gonna be telling everybody about the Rise. I want to remind everybody the Rise graduation is tomorrow at Lundy Chapel at 10:30. You all should be hearing a message from me about our Rise initiative and our graduates, our 2023 graduates. On the radio, some folks have told me they have heard it. I know that we have my team secured two spaces on digital billboards, throughout town, congratulating those Rise graduates,
Oh,
because
that's
we want
wonderful.
these graduates to know how proud we are of them. So many times with our young people, the negative things that they do, that's what's highlighted.
Right.
And so sometimes, we take, the ones that are really striving and excelling, we kind of take that for granted sometimes. And we want them to know that we are not taking their efforts for granted. We are excited about this graduation. My Rise team going from 26 graduates to
Oh,
68.
that's
I
phenomenal.
mean, I can't, in the Rise ambassadors, we recently had this past Tuesday, we had our Rise ambassador luncheon. And
Who are the ambassadors?
oh,
What's that group?
we have a good number of them. I know we have Barbara Griggs, Shirley Washington, who else is in that group with us? Rhonda Bird is in that group. We
Uh-huh.
have Romelda Simmons. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
she recently
Uh-huh.
retired from Fort
Right.
Valley State. And I probably shouldn't have started naming because
Right.
that put
But
me, but
anyway,
yes, right,
you got a few
exactly.
of them.
There you go. Yes. But
But they are community
they
leaders
are
who,
community
yeah.
leaders who serve as Rise ambassadors. You'll see them, at our parades, with us. They'll be even, they're going to be there tomorrow at Walmart helping with the
Mm-hmm.
kids. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
show up early tomorrow. So the kids arrive at about 8:30. They're going to be wearing ties, and we bought them ties and shirts. And so they're going to be helping the students get dressed. So it's Gloria King. I know
Mm-hmm.
she's
Mm-hmm.
with the West Side Neighbors.
Uh-huh.
That's where I originally met her years ago, and then when she heard about the Rise Ambassador, she definitely wanted to be one.
Oh
She's very
yeah.
active,
Oh
so
yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
really, really excited. I see a. Is it going to be taped? It is going to be streaming live on the DA's office's Facebook
Right.
page,
Right.
so you'll be able to see that there. I'm being told by my team it's going to be a packed house. Some people
I
are
believe so.
some people are
Yeah.
still asking about the invite for it, and so I told my team, send. They said, "Well, Da, we don't know how many people we're gonna be able to hold." I said, "We're gonna be fine,"
Mm-hmm.
and so because people are
Mm-hmm.
excited, and we want them to be excited.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Dr. Butler says that we were needing someone who was willing to work on the prevention piece
right.
for our community. A lot of people have worked on the correction side,
That's right.
but not on the prevention side for our community. And she says that you and your staff are knocking the ball out of the park. And so
Thank you so much,
we
Dr. Butler.
wholeheartedly agree with that. The combination of the things that are done in the DA's office, and we last night approved a grant,
I'm
another grant that it
yes.
seems like just about every time we meet, there's another grant. Thank
Between
you, Uncle Joe. I keep telling y'all, we better go and vote in record numbers for Uncle Joe because those other clowns, I'm not going back. I don't know
that's
about
right.
y'all, but I'm not going back. So we better do what we need to do to save this entire country, and we better vote in record numbers.
And then he's got wonderful
Yeah.
vice president.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And she
Vice
your
President Kamala Harris.
sorority
Yeah,
sister,
she is a
graduate of
member of.
Howard. I watched the Howard FAMU
Yeah, and I saw that she was
game.
there.
She was there.
And I was recently at her house.
I saw the pictures. I saw it. This girl was invited to the vice president's house,
I was for her
and you were
Christmas,
looking good
for
too.
her
You
holiday,
represented. You
for her
really
holiday
represent.
reception. Yes,
Oh my! See, now if you aren't doing anything, you don't get invited to the vice president's house. And so she and her husband were pictured.
yes.
It was just an honor
So
for
this was
me
my
to know
second
y'all.
time
I know.
being
I
invited. The
know it.
first time I did not get a plus one. So this time I said, well, I guess I behaved because I got a +1 this time. And so Todd was able to go with me, and it was just a wonderful experience. I'm telling you, she is, you know, you got to know that someone, who is the first in many things as she has been, but
Right.
she's so accomplished and she's just really, really brilliant. But sometimes I feel like that just doesn't. I feel like it gets underplayed sometimes, as we talked about, right, with that kind of the underestimation
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
especially Black
Yeah.
women. But when you even meet her sincerity, and her every time, the two times I've been there and hearing her speak in her truth about this country and those that are suffering, she said something that was so important. She said that true excellence in leadership means that you ought to have a level of care, concern, and curiosity
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
those that are suffering, and
Mhm.
then do something about it. And
Right.
that's really what you, Commissioner Lucas, have dedicated your entire life's work to. You and Senator Lucas is doing something about it. And I said that when they were naming, the street
Oh
that over there.
yeah.
I said
Yeah.
that because, and that goes back to everything we talked about today. That you ought not to do something for media attention
Right.
or to be manipulative. You ought to do it because someone is suffering. And if someone is suffering, what should you do?
Mhm.
And that's the question that we have. And that's true leadership.
That's right.
That's excellence in leadership. And so I know that's what we have, in Vice President Kamala
Oh
Harris.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And every
Oh
time
yeah.
I'm around her, it lifts me that much
Uh-huh.
higher.
Uh-huh. And you know what the Republicans are talking about? Well, if Joe something happens to Joe Biden, then look at who you'll have for. They're worried about a black woman becoming president rather than looking at Joe Biden and all the things that the initiatives he's been able to get through with a hostile House of Representatives, by the way. And so it's smoke and mirrors. They're showing
Hmm.
you one thing, trying to divert your attention away from the real deal. And next week I had a slide that had a list of all of the initiatives that have come out of Washington that have been
Right.
beneficial to our community. We alone have received 77 million additional
Oh,
dollars for
wow.
use in this community. And that's in addition to the grants that offices
Hmm.
like the DA's office and some of the other solicitors
Office.
office and a number of the other offices, they've applied for grants, federal grants. The extension of our runway at the airport to
Hmm.
allow us to bring in larger jets, maybe some additional flights to some other locations, destinations. That's
Additional
federal
additional
additional
jobs.
jobs. Yes.
Right.
All of that's federal money. We are approving every week all these additional things that are coming through from the federal government down, some of them to the state, and then the state is taking credit for it and sending it down locally, but it's federal monies. All of these different things that are benefiting us.
Hmm.
We want to thank everybody who showed up at the dedication
Oh,
official
yes.
opening of the David E. Lucas Way,
I don't think I have ever
Jeffersonville.
seen. I know you probably have, but I don't know that I've ever seen him. You could tell his spirit was just so full and
Oh
emotional.
yeah,
It was beautiful,
yeah,
and it was beautiful to give people their appreciation and their kind of flowers, so to
right,
speak.
right.
Right, while they're on this side,
They appreciated it so
so many times
much.
people only get that stuff when they're in the ground.
That's right.
And to see that many people, I know the president, I think President Underwood was
Yes, from
there,
Mercer.
and it was windy, it was
It was cold.
cold, it was, but we were
Yeah.
going to be
Oh
there for
yeah,
Senator
yeah.
Lucas,
There
and it was
was
beautiful.
representation from all over, and the broadcast of there's a tape of it on Macon Bibb County. If you want to go to that, the hub which is published by Macon Bibb County, has a replay of that whole event. You can
And
see DA.
he deserved all of that and more. I mean,
And he's continuing to work because
yeah,
it was through his effort that he he thought we were moving too slow. Only took 30 years to get
right.
Jeffersonville Road. It only took 30 years. So he came into a commission meeting one day and he stood up in the door and leaned against the door. Robert Rickard was presiding over the meeting and he got so nervous. Everybody got so nervous. He was just leaning on the door. And so Robert Rickard hurried the meeting along and finished up. And he said, "Well, Senator Lucas, can what can we do
What can
for
we do?
you?" So David wiggled his finger at different ones who were in there that he wanted to see. And they got on the phone to Atlanta and found out what the problem was. And he immediately went to work to make sure that all the pieces were put in place because he said, it is taking too long on
That's
this
right.
one road that we've approved money 4 or 5 different times. What has happened to the money? And they found out that some people locally were kind of holding some things up. There's some
Mm.
low down people. There's some low down people, I'm telling you.
And you got to make sure and we do have elections coming up, in 2024. You elect people who are about community. Ty and I recently when we were in DC, we got an opportunity to go to the African American, the
Uh huh.
museum, and
Uh
we
huh.
saw the exhibit there for Emmett Till. And one of the
Oh,
quotes
yeah.
from Mamie, his mother, was, I think it was like 2 months prior to this, I was up in the north with my good job in my good apartment, not worried what was going on with the people in the
Hmm.
South.
Hmm.
Little did I know that what affects one of us
Uh,
affects all
oh,
of
yeah.
us, and
Oh,
those are
yeah.
the type of people we want to elect. That's the leadership
That's
that
right.
we need in our community, and that's what we've been talking about on this show.
That's right. Unselfish people
That's right.
who
We're not trying to
and
be in
it's
the
a
line,
challenge.
not trying to
It's
be in
a
the
challenge.
limelight,
That's right.
not trying to get the credit, but just trying
Right.
to do something for those who are suffering.
And if you do what's right,
That's right.
if you present folks with the information they need, if you assure them that you're going to do what they asked you to do, what you said you were going to do when you asked them to vote for you,
That's right.
people will know. They will come to your rescue if
Right.
folks go after you. They will support you. And
That's
so
right.
that is just wonderful. But more of you need to be about doing more. You've got more power than you think. So, you know, Dr. Butler was there, she and Pastor Lisa, and they noted the senator got a little emotional about that. And yeah, there were a lot of people in that audience that felt what he was
Yeah.
feeling, that people were expressing their
It was
appreciation.
beautiful to
Uh-huh.
watch because someone, I mean, like you said, 30 years. I mean, a lot of people would have given up.
Yeah,
A lot of times it didn't, it may not necessarily have directly affected him, right?
right, right.
But, it's the people that were there in that community that he fought for and continues to fight for. So that's why I definitely was, going to be there. So,
Right, and we appreciate you being there. Your office, the Macon Judicial Circuit, says if you're looking for DA Howard's official page, you can follow her and her initiatives like Rise here, Macon Judicial Circuit, District Attorney Anita Reynolds Howard. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, oh, James Duncan did that song, didn't he? He did.
oh, I see Marvella. Hello,
Oh, Marvin.
Marvella. I know, well,
You're
I'm like a
looking like
college
a
student.
college
Everybody tell me
student
these
today. The
bangs make me look a little
bangs.
bit.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
tried something new.
Oh, you hear the music. Thank you all so very much for tuning in with our very special guest, none other than District Attorney Anita Reynolds Howard. Next week, you can expect to hear from some folks from Making Black Culture and also from the Martin Luther King Board and the Evangelical Ministers Alliance, who will be talking about upcoming Martin Luther King Jr. board initiatives, activities, things that you can do to keep alive the life and works of Dr. King. You haven't forgotten Dr. King, have you? We better not,
That's right. We
because he
can't.
gave his life. They killed him. They killed him because he was pushing for our rights. So we need to make sure we don't ever forget him, because what he did was is and his tactics are so relevant even today. So
Merry
thank you so
Christmas,
much. Merry
everybody. Happy New
Christmas to
Year.
everybody. And we will see you again next Wednesday for another edition of Ask Elaine. We'll see you at Rise tomorrow morning at 10:30
10:30
at Lizzie
at Lundy
Lundy
Chapel.
Chapel.
Lundy
I'm about to
Chapel.
get it wrong. Lundy Chapel.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.